let's get into our combat guide next section, which is all about attacking strategy and the best attacking moves and skills for you to be able to, live into that aggressive side of Sifu. So the number one tip here for attacking, or the number one strategy point, is to learn the combos and really experiment and play. This is the most fun part of the game. The attacking side of it, the doing damage side, is the most fun and most satisfying, more than any aspect of defense in my opinion. So having a great combo, getting a great attack, knocking a guy on his ass, those are the things that make this game very rewarding. So knowing how to do that and experimenting is some of the most fun I've had with the game. So that's my number one tip. It helps. Moving on to the next tip are just knowing that weapons are clutch. This is pretty well documented in other guides, but I just want to reinforce it. Weapons do a lot more damage. I tried early on to just be like, I'm not even going to use weapons. Nope, they are critical, in my opinion, to being able to beat any given hideout. So find them, use them, know the locations, and bring them from one section to the next. Like, go through a door or into your next section with a weapon in your hand, even if it's a bottle. It just goes such a long way. You can get an extra knockout a lot quicker, or just do more damage progressively if you're bringing weapons with you. The next piece that is going to take a minute to describe is these stuns, half stuns, and sweeps that, when done effectively, are going to create space for you to reorient or get your rhythm back, or vulnerability windows in which you can punish people. So full stuns are moves that get guys to like crouch over like this or kick them back. Half stuns are moves that, like a crotch punch like that, where you don't stun them for very long, but it does open up a brief window. So crotch punches are the best to do that, in my opinion. And then of course sweeps are one of the number one easiest and best ways to create space and some vulnerability for you to do those ground and pounds. Let's move on now to the best moves, the moves that I think are critical to attacking, and that starts with a sweep, which is just up, down, triangle. On PlayStation, it's a lot of typical guys are very prone to it. The next is a palm strike, that's down, up, square. That also, again, knocks them back, gives you a little space, and makes it easier for you to go get them down. You can sweep them when you go get them. But palm strikes and sweeps are absolutely massive. So when you do get those sweeps too, those successful sweeps, if you hold circle, you can do a beatdown. So I call this the sweep down beatdown. It's very effective, does a good amount of damage. Anytime you do a sweep, there typically is that vulnerability window to hold circle and do a beatdown. And this is great because if the sweep is something you do at the end of a combo, this just extends your combo. So get really good at that sweep down beatdown. Alright, so here are my three go-to combos. These are the things that typically I think work well against mini bosses and bosses and some of those guys that like turn into flaming guys. So the number one is the two-strike sweep down beat down. This is really when there's a vulnerability window, just doing any combo of strong and light attacks and then following it up with down up triangle on PlayStation 5 to create a window of vulnerability and keep your combo going with a sweep down beat down. Next is light, hard, hard, hard. So when there's a vulnerability, this works so well against the botanist. When you do get that perfect avoid, you're just going to do triangle, or excuse me, square, triangle, triangle, triangle very quickly, and it does this combo that knocks them to the ground, which again will create an opportunity for you to do a beatdown. Next is the hook kick. Maybe it's the roundhouse kick. I'm not quite sure what allows me to do this, but it's very effective. This is any combination of a light heavy attack, so square, triangle, triangle, square, triangle, triangle, whatever, and then just a split-second delay and pressing triangle again then does this roundhouse or hook kick, and then you can follow that up with a beatdown too. Some of the other best attacks are, of course, takedowns. I mean, that's the most obvious, square triangle on PlayStation 5. It gives you health. It's very important. But so is the directional throw. So directional throw is not only fun because you can throw guys off the heights here, like you can see, but also to throw them into the walls or just make space and get them further away from you. So takedowns and directional throws are great. Oh, and directional throws are just square and X in the direction you want to throw someone. Also fun because you can do a directional throw against a stunned enemy near a wall or something else, and it'll sort of slam them into it, which is quite satisfying. We're going to go into attacking moves that are amazing now, which are unlockable in your skill tree, starting with slide kick, the most important unlockable move. Most enemies are very vulnerable to it. You can knock someone back and follow it up with a run and slide. So I just really recommend this. It also, again, extends your combos and makes room for beatdowns. Spin hook kick, this shows up as triangle, triangle, delay, and then triangle, but I found you can do any combination of light or heavy attack quickly, wait a second, and press triangle, and it'll do a roundhouse or a spin hook kick. And I just gotta say, this can knock one or two guys right on their ass. It's incredibly effective and very important to unlock. Charge back fist I really like too, because it's very dynamic. You can be working on one guy and see another guy start creeping up on you, like in this video, and then you can just create a couple seconds to finish one guy or get back to him. So the charge back fist, which is just holding triangle and then letting go in the direction you want to attack, is great. Flowing claw is good because once again it creates that stun or knocking someone on their butt opportunity, and it does it very quickly, not at the end of a long combo. So this is just quickly doing square to triangle and then pressing triangle for a spinning hook kick or roundhouse. Next is crotch punch. Again, this is really good because it creates that semi-stun, which opens up a short window of vulnerability. It's also great because it's hilarious and never-ending laughs. It also tends to interrupt combos pretty effectively, and you can do it pretty quick. It's just two directions and then square. This is duck strike, which is good because it creates a semi-stun or a short stun, and all you have to do is hold square. So it's quick to do, not a lot of buttons, and it creates a semi-stun. Hook intercept I like as well because you can charge it while you're guarding and blocking, and then let go when you want to get a quick attack in and break up a combo. Alright, other key attacking unlocks. So these are the unlocks at the skill tree and the shrine that are going to help you with attacking. The number one thing, because once again it gives you that great opportunity to split guys up or knock them on their butt, is environmental mastery. This is where you can throw bottles or kick cushions or chairs and things and just knock people down. It's so critical to this game, particularly in big groups. Next is weapon mastery. This is where you can use your weapon until it breaks completely. So anything that's going to keep a weapon in your hand for longer is going to help you do more damage. Moving on to shrine upgrades that most help with your attacking, starting with health gained on takedowns. So you're doing takedowns anyway, so why not get more health from them? Takedowns are one of the most important moves in the game. Next, and arguably the most important one, certainly amongst the most important, is weapon durability, which increases your weapon's longitude before it breaks. Focus is also an important part of attacking, which I'll get into, and you're going to build a lot more focus a lot more quickly, or you're just going to build focus more quickly with the focus regain, shrine upgrade. Weapon proficiency, yep, this is the best one for offense or attacking. It just makes weapons do even more damage. They already do a lot of damage, so definitely do that. And then the death counter is another good shrine upgrade, as it restarts your death counter. Next, we're going to move to delays, direction, and rhythm. Delays, we're really just talking about putting little tiny bits of time in between your attacks to mix it up and keep your enemies on their toes. So if you put some time in between your combos, you'll find that the enemies will like put their guard down and get ready to attack right when you go into your next attack. So this is really the anti-button mashing. This is being intentional and mixing it up to keep your enemies on their toes. Changing direction is also really important with big groups. You're going to find you're attacking one way, someone sneaks up on you from behind, so you just want to get good at avoiding and parrying from all different directions and being able to punch one way and then sweep another direction and just kind of have your head on a swivel, so to speak, because directions and being really good at anticipating attacks is both really satisfying and strategically important. As far as rhythm goes, what I'm talking about how is in each section or each fight, whether it's a boss or 20 guys, there's a kind of rhythm you can fall into where you're really in your zone of blocking and anticipating and attacking. So figuring out that rhythm is about knowing your enemies, getting into that rhythm, but also kind of resetting. When you take some damage, like R2 dodging away or making some space by jumping over a planter or whatever, just to kind of get your bearings again and then get back into your rhythm. So this is a little more intangible of a skill and tip, but if you've been playing this game for a while, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So scout those enemies, find those rhythms, and then make a little space to get back in that rhythm. You don't want to get stuck in a rut of just keep mashing buttons. Find those rhythms and get back into them. Another attack that the game doesn't tell you about is this sneak attack, which is basically as you first start a section or as you first enter into a room, you can sort of sucker punch or sucker attack and immediately break someone's structure and go into a takedown. So take full advantage of that. Last section we talked about defense and how to keep our structure from breaking, but now let's talk about how enemy structure works and how to break it. So the things that weaken or build towards breaking enemy structure is damaging them, and of course the bigger the attack that they block, the more structure you're going to weaken. Also, deflecting or perfect parrying their attacks will help break their structure. Even blocking their attacks, so just holding guard L1, will also help break their structure, but just blocking does very little towards breaking their structure. Breaking structure is so critical for mini bosses, really any enemy, because when you fully weaken or break their structure, it leads to a takedown, which is typically the end of the mini boss fight or the end of the person you're up against or changing the boss phase. Moving right along, it's time to talk about focus and how do you use it best, when do you use it, and really what it is. And I really want to dedicate some time to this because I personally forget about focus sometimes, so I want to highlight it because it's a critical aspect of the game. Ways to increase your focus, which is in the bottom left-hand corner where you slow down time and sort of do a special move, sending them into vulnerability, is by avoiding damage, so that's L1, and moving the left joystick and doing damage to them. Those are the things that increase your focus. It's so great for bosses, mini bosses, and big groups just to break things up, do a damage, do a little bit of a stun to get a combo in. You want to use it as soon as it fills up. Don't waste time with your focus, particularly with bosses. As soon as it gets full, you really want to use it right away so you can start filling it back up again. More quick things on focus is the focus regain upgrade at shrines. I highly recommend it. Hastens how quickly you regain focus so you can then deploy it. You can upgrade to better focus attacks in the skill tree. I don't do this. I find the strong sweep, which is cheap, and the punch to the eyeballs to be plenty sufficient for focus, for what I use focus for. Moving on to attack strategies for bosses and what's the best way to approach attacking bosses. So at this point, it's hopefully ingrained. The best thing you can do to figure out when to attack, what attacks are best, are to scout, experiment, practice, and probably die a lot. Just go up against the boss a lot of times to scout out their moves and what's the best attacks to take them down. When you're doing that, you want to spot their patterns, particularly the ones that you can predict, and figure out the best in terms of being able to avoid or perfect parry / deflect those and then punish them. So you want to spot the patterns, avoid probably the last move in a combo, and then punish. Also, again, use your focus as soon as possible, as soon as it's full. It's going to open up an opportunity for you to sweep down, beat down, or to get another combo in, and then start filling up your focus meter right away. Also, just use weapons, shrines, and tree upgrades. You really want to bring weapons to you with any boss. It's going to go such a long way and quicken up knocking them out. And use shrine and tree upgrades to make sure your weapons are good so they last in those fights. My last little tip is if you press right on the D-pad, you can taunt your enemies, which is always a little fun. So that's it. That's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this massive guide and all of the videos that are in it. Take care and check me out on Twitter and Instagram. And just remember, as soon as I start making a single dime from my YouTube videos, 50% of what I make will go to a charity that we choose as a subscriber community. So all the more reason to spread the word, like, and subscribe.